What up, Clipper Nation? Show starts in 16 minutes from now. Clippers at home, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Tip off at 7:30, but pregame show starting at 6:30 here. Thought I'd start a little bit earlier than usual, as we got some interesting news earlier. Well. It looks like Kevin Porter Jr. is out of the rotation tonight with the DNP, and Terrence Mann is back in. Interesting. Clippers starters: James Harden, Norman Powell, Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubats. Second unit: Dunn, Coffee, Man, Batum, Bamba. It almost looks like the Clippers are going to try a second unit with backup ball handlers being Terrence Mann and Chris Dunn. Who told you? Who told you? That's what I'd go with. I just talked about it yesterday. Those are the two guys. Maybe what's happening here is there's a bit of a tryout process for that final spot in the rotation between Terrence Mann and Kevin Porter Jr. Mann gets the DNP last game. Kevin Porter Jr. gets the DNP tonight. Kawhi Leonard's minutes restriction is relaxed for tonight. Huh. Just found that out too. I mean, I've been telling you all along, that's what I do. I'd have Terrence Mann and Chris Dunn off the bench. For me, Kevin Porter Jr. would be the odd man out. Maybe there's a battle going on for that final spot in the rotation between him and Terrence Mann. And that's what's happening right now. I think that is my guess. Doesn't seem like Coach Lou elaborated much on it. What's up, Dominique? Alfredo? Sly? How we doing? I am most excited for this ball game. So, Clippers front end of a back-to-back. Their next 6 games all take place within a back-to-back, as they have a 4 and 5 next week. So this is the first of 3 back-to-backs coming up. Tough. I say gotta win tonight and tomorrow. No D'Lo for the Brooklyn Nets tonight, who won last night up in Portland, where the Clippers will be tomorrow. So they get a break there. Still Cameron Johnson, Ben Simmons, who has been playing better. But very interesting to see what Coach Lou's doing here with the lineups. Yeah, I believe this may be a competition between T-Man and Kevin Porter Jr. T-Man DNP last game, KPJ tonight. I thought this is something that could happen. I was hoping this would happen. I want to see Terrence Mann and Chris Dunn in the backcourt together. I had just talked about it yesterday. And now it's coming to fruition. Here we go. Gonna need Terrence Mann to have a big game. Huh? Alfredo said, can you elaborate on the back-to-back question you asked earlier? You said something about whether other teams' back-to-backs would be affected and that Clippers remain number 1 in most back-to-backs. Elaborate on what you're asking. Steve, you did miss something. You missed a lot. Kevin Porter Jr. DNP tonight. Terrence Mann back in. Yes. KPJ DNP CD. There may be a competition going on. It was Mann last time. This time it's KPJ. That's my guess. Coach Lou wants to see what he can get out of, I think, Chris Dunn and Terrence Mann running the show with the backups. This is exactly the way I would do it and what I told you yesterday. This is the rotation that I would go with. Derek Jones Jr., starting lineup. Chris Dunn, Terrence Mann, your backup ball handlers. All I know is this: the Clippers have 17 back-to-backs now. I guess I did, Steve. The Clippers have 17 back-to-backs now. The only way another team matches them, I think, would have to be the Washington Wizards, because their schedule was affected as well. Did they add a back-to-back? Because if they didn't, the Clippers they're all alone with 17 back-to-backs. 11 teams coming into this season had 16 back-to-backs, including the Clippers. But they've had a back-to-back added with the 9 games that were rescheduled earlier today. I don't know if that answers your question, Alfredo, because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. All I know is I'm getting the exact lineup that I've wanted. Finally, I feel heard. I feel heard. It's like they listened to the podcast yesterday. I wasn't sure they'd do it, but I'm glad they are. I want to see T-Man and Chris Dunn together as your 2 primary backup ball handlers. Is that an oxymoron? Primary backup? Oh, there we go, Alfredo. The only other team I think that could have more back-to-backs than the Clippers now would be Washington. But somebody else said the Pelicans have 19 back-to-backs? How could that be? Did they have a weather issue? Did they have games rescheduled? I asked for proof, and then they didn't respond to me. So I don't know if that's true or not. Watching Paul George here against the Knicks lose the basketball. Yabby Sally picks it up. Gives it to Maxey. Baseline blocked at the rim. Oh, who had that block for New York? Incredible defensive play. OG? Philly trying to come back on him, down 2 with minute 30 left. Yes. This is going to be an interesting night. 10 minutes till your pregame show starts. I'm back in Burbank still. Just want to make sure the winds don't pick up. No issue there. I'm in a hazardous area in Burbank next to Griffith Park, so all these fires going on, it can be quite combustible if something happened because of all the vegetation. So I'm staying here for now. Hope to be back at Intuit Dome Sunday for the Clippers-Lakers game. Appreciate you guys in here. Justin Russo's confirmed for 7. At Fly By Night is where you can find him. The news is this. Tonight, it's KPJ getting the DNP, and Mann back available. Derek Jones Jr. starting for Chris Dunn. All for that. Told you by the end of the season, I feel like that's going to be the main rotation. Kawhi's minutes restriction will be increased today. Now, he is out tomorrow, but his minutes restriction will be increased. So are we looking at 25? Are we looking at 30? I wonder. What do you guys think? How many minutes is Kawhi playing tonight with this minutes restriction increased or decreased? I'm excited. I guess the hope would be he wouldn't have to play more than 25 because the Clippers handled their business tonight against a Nets team that is struggling. But they won last night, so they're on the second night of a back-to-back. They won in Portland. Clippers will be in Portland tomorrow. I don't know, Steve. It's too early. I literally said at the podcast yesterday, maybe Coach Lou talks to KPJ before the next game, implying he gets the DNP. And it's happening. So I think we have a competition going on between him and Terrence Mann right now for the final spot in the rotation. And I like it. Makes sense. Show starts in 7 minutes. Yeah, probably 25 minutes for Kawhi. I'm with you guys. You says hope that Dunn's playmaking can help the second unit. I'm with that. There's going to be, I think, a lot of tinkering going on over the next week with different lineups because of all the back-to-backs. Their next 6 games all take place within a back-to-back. It's too early for that, Alfredo. I don't think they're going to deploy one night and one another night. I think one is going to be out of the rotation. I don't think they're going to have a rotating backup backcourt. I think there's a competition going on between Mann and KVJ. That's my guess. This is what I've been saying, Steve. This is what I would go with. And tonight it's happening. So we need some good results from it. This is the way to me. KPJ is just too erratic, play to play. Getting Russell Westbrook vibes. Yeah, that's a lot of guys to trade. I'm not doing trade talk pregame. I refuse. We got a game to play, guys. I don't need dumb trade machine stuff that never happens. I'm sorry, but it literally never happens. I've never seen a fan go, I had that trade, then post proof that they already put that together and then it happened in reality. I've never seen it happen. Terrence Mann, Chris Dunn, Amir Batum, Mo Bamba. That's what we're looking at here. And that's what I'm here for. Yeah, thank God when the trade deadline comes, it won't stop everybody from the trade machine nonsense. It won't. They'll be talking about the off season. It never ends.
In love with the transaction.
People want to dream. I'm more interested in things that could actually happen. And tonight, we get to see something not just on paper. We get a Clippers ball game. We get a lot of those coming up. Daniel, did you see the updated schedule?
No, not yet.
So we got back-to-backs the next 6 games.
Oh, wow.
So tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Producer Daniel Westgas.
Howdy.
I think it's important he gets the same schedule too.
Yeah.
Since we're going to be doing this.
I knew there was a new schedule. I just haven't had a chance to look yet.
It's all good.
They didn't leave me in the dark. Let's see. It's like 2 minutes here.
Wow. Some fans have been right before. I don't believe it. When it comes to schedules, the Clippers have not gotten many favors from the NBA. But that Utah game being moved means they'll be staying home for longer in March. So there is some upside to that. And they are in the Pacific time zone for a while till the end of this month. But an extra back-to-back, that means at least one more game without Kawhi. It's not great. Kawhi extended minutes, though, tonight.
All right, we're on about 20, looks like.
All right, guys, here we go. Welcome into Clippers Countdown. As your 21-17 LA Clippers are on the front end of the first of 3 straight back-to-backs and facing the 14-26 Brooklyn Nets tonight, who may be more focused on the future than the present, but that doesn't mean they're gifting anyone wins. Just ask the Blazers last night in Portland, where the Clippers will be tomorrow, who lost to the Nets by 20. So this Clippers team will have to fill up the Nets if they want to beat them tonight, and that means they'll need another big game from their big 3.
Kicks it Leonard, bounces it for Dunn, shovels through, tic-tac-toe, ends in a two-handed flush. Ivica Zubac licking, spinning, dunking. Ivica Zubac says, a rookie on me? Let's barbecue chicken. Shot clock is up, 2 seconds left. Harden threw it away, a three over Ware. Buries it, James Harden ahead of the horn. Harden's got the last 5. He dribbles on the right wing, he stops, he pulls it back, he fires a 3. Bullseye! The beard from downtown. Double team on the baseline, bounces it Harden. Looks for a friend, swings done, right corner Norm, open, flies by Hero, elevates and throws it through. Norman Powell trampolines to the rim. Harden over to Norman Powell, a right-handed floater in the paint for 2. Norm's up to 23 on 9 for 13 from the field. Norman Powell not looking to miss as he drives down the right alley and lays it up with the right hand. 27 for Norman Powell.
Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, and James Harden each had over 20 points for the Clippers as they would win 109-98 over the Miami Heat on Monday night. Here was James Harden post-game with Christina Pink on FanDuel TV.
In that locker room at halftime, because you guys came out with a different energy and a different intensity in the third quarter.
halftime you're making adjustments, and they kind of slowed our pace down with their zone. In the second half, we wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and press the zone, and then defensively continue to do what we were doing, and we did that in that second half.
You had 26 tonight, but 21 of those points came in the second half. What opened up for you as the game went on?
Being aggressive. That zone tends to make teams stagnant, slow them down. Deep in the shot clock, I wanted to just be aggressive, and I got some shots to fall.
James, you're from LA. You know this community better than anybody. The theme tonight has been LA strong. What does that mean to you, given the events going on right now?
The whole city of Los Angeles coming together. We're going through some tough times right now. Something we've never seen before. You know what I mean? So it's very, very powerful for us to stand together and help each other out through these times. And as one, we can stand together and get through it. So, pray for everybody out there.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Brian.
Well said there by James Harden. Clippers and Nets from Intuit Dome is just about 58 minutes away. Coming up here in your pregame show, we'll have Justin Russo on, plus Carlo Jimenez and assistant coach Brian Shaw. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown. Still to come, you're going to hear from assistant coach Brian Shaw. But first, to Intuit Dome with the radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez and Big Brother Jake with him. Carlo, what's good?
Double A. What's good, sir? What's good? I hope you're keeping shadows safe up there and that life is good up in the bank. Appreciate you holding it down for us as we hold it down here at Intuit Dome. You know what? We got quite the stretch of games coming up. I'm going to see you guys a lot in these next 10 days. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
Clippers starting the first of 3 straight back-to-backs. Tonight they take on the Brooklyn Nets at Intuit Dome. Tomorrow they'll be in Portland, where Brooklyn was last night, taking on the Blazers. Let's talk about what the Clippers were able to do, though, last time out against the Miami Heat. They were able to win by 11 and take control in that second half, and you had the stat, but the Clippers' big three already 7th time this season, each player, Big Zoo, James Harden, and Norman Powell going for 20-plus points in a ball game, tying what last year's Big Three was able to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the fact that the combo of Zoo, Harden, and Norm has been more effective in terms of scoring together, on the floor together, than Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George last year. It just echoes back to the point that we brought up, what I remember when we were talking in Hawaii, Adam, about defined roles lead to success. When you understand what you're asked to do on a nightly basis and there's no question about what your role is, oftentimes that's when you can have the most success, because there's no question. No one's going to try to take away Norm's three-pointers or James's unassisted threes or Zoo's post-ups in the paint. Those guys do that the best. The team needs them to do that at a high level, and then you just find success from there. I think it's impressive, and it really speaks. I know we bring it up a lot, but with this stat coming up, Adam, we have to bring it up again. The ability that Lawrence Frank, Trent Redden, Mark Hughes, that whole front office has done this year, because everybody in the national media saw them let Paul George walk for nothing and said that's got to be a mistake. How could they make that decision? I mean, the discord was unbelievable. And look where we are at. The Clippers are the 5 seed out west.
Old Takes Exposed is going to have a field day by the end of this season, I believe. So the Clippers win 109-98 over Miami on Monday night at home. We talk about the big three, but it's Norman Powell, Mr. Addition by Subtraction, handling business in the second half with the balance. 11 points in the third quarter, 11 more points in the fourth quarter, kept the pedal to the metal. The efficiency was there. And I'm going to say it again. He should be an all-star this season. If you just do the blind test, and I saw this last night on TNT, where they didn't tell you who the player was, but they put up the amount of points he's averaging, they put up the efficiency, and everybody was saying, yeah, that guy should be an all-star this season. Well, then make it happen. Don't make it a popularity vote. Make it about merit, because I think Norman Powell has more than earned it.
He really has. I mean, Norman Powell's ability, like you talked about, to be efficient every single night, Adam, is the thing that stands out to me. This is a guy who's got 16 25-point games already. We haven't played game 41 yet. That's a career high. And he has more than half a season left to play, and he already has a career high in 25-plus point games in a single season. Norman Powell's ability to be Mr. Reliable from the outside for this Clipper team has just opened things up offensively for them. He's still top 5 in catch and shoot percentage, top 10 in three-point percentage in the NBA. Somebody who's just a pure sniper for this Clippers team, Adam. And what's impressed me the most, and what you brought up too, is his efficiency has only gotten better with the return of Kawhi Leonard, because he's more open. And Norm talked about this when Kawhi was coming back. He said he's looked at Kawhi and said, hey, man, I need you to come back because I'm getting doubled. They're not helping off me. I'm getting bracketed off the ball. And now Norman Powell has more space to operate, and we just see him play at an elevated level on the offensive end. It's been special to watch. And also, Adam, the question was, could he be a great defender, right? Could he be a Portland defender? When he came into the league, he was all about defense. That was his role in Toronto to start. And he's averaging a third best on the team, 1.3 steals a game. So he's doing it defensively too, while giving that same effort on the offensive end. It is just so fun to watch. Norman Powell's best subject in school had to be math, Adam, because the math gets an A+ so far.
The math is mathing with Norman Powell. 3 steals last game in the Clippers' 11-point victory over Miami. How about Big Zoo? 21-20, another double-double, 10 of 13. Speaking of efficiency from the field, a couple of blocks, just pure domination out there with the Miami Heat playing small and not having Bam.
Adam, I saw this tweet earlier today, and I had to bring it up today. Ivica Zubac was the first player to have 20 points, 20 rebounds, 2 blocks, 0 fouls on 60% from the field. Now, I know it's a lot of qualifiers, but we'll get to the name that matters. Since Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan. I mean, come on now. A guy who most people will say, Adam, might be the best power forward in the history of the NBA. I mean, at least recently, one of the best the game has ever seen when you talk about a pure power forward position. Ivica Zubac's ability to just take over the game when he has the ball in his hands, I think probably as little as possible. It's not the Klay Thompson 60 on 11 dribbles, but it feels that way because the ball doesn't stick with him. I mean, he catches, he passes, he shoots. There is no watching Ivica Zubac go to work. He is making things happen immediately on the catch for this Clipper team. It's a big reason why they're 11-2 when he has 15 or more rebounds. He is dominant on the glass. And this is a Brooklyn squad here tonight, Adam, that does not have traditional back-to-the-basket big man. Expect another huge game from Ivica Zubac.
Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Carlo Jimenez is on the call. Tip-off just about 50 minutes away. And up next, Carlo's got his one-on-one conversation with assistant coach Brian Shaw right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers and Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off is just about 45 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown. Coming up, we'll go back in time in Clippers Rewind. But first, let's head back over to your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez.
Thanks so much, Adam. Here with assistant coach Brian Shaw before the Clippers take on the Brooklyn Nets. Coach, going back to that last game against Miami, team really turned the page in the second half. What did you see? Why were you guys able to have so much success in that half?
We got more locked in the second half. Particularly the first quarter, they just Miami just ran freely, and we didn't make them feel us defensively, feel our presence. So they got a lot of wide open three balls. They dropped for them, and so at halftime we talked about it and the fact that we weren't physical enough, and we were able to reverse that in the second half.
In that game, Zoo had his second career 20-point, 20-rebound game, but he also had 2 blocks and didn't foul anyone. How have you seen him grow defensively? Everyone talks about his offense this year, but it seems like he's just as good as a rim protector as he's been in the past.
Yeah, I feel like he's been good. His defense has always kind of been ahead of his offense. But to me, it feels more like he is finally embracing himself as a big man, and the fact that he could be one of the more physical guys out there on the floor. He's more confident offensively. We're actually running a lot more offense through him than we have in the past years as well. And then defensively, I think Jeff Van Gundy has instilled a lot of confidence in him in terms of cleaning up any mistakes that we make out on the perimeter. And has done a good job in our schemes, keeping Zoo inside so he can protect as well as get to the defensive boards.
You look at the schedule coming out today. You guys play 6 games, in the next 9 days with 3 straight back-to-backs. as a staff, do you have to approach the way you present information differently because you're playing so many games in so little days?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to play the games that are put in front of you. It's unfortunate that with the rescheduling of games, due to the postponements, that it ended up giving us these back to backs, especially because I doubt that Kawhi Leonard will be able to play in the second night of back to backs, and so we lose him, most likely for a couple of games that we would have had him. But at the end of the day, there's no excuses. We got to play the games, and so that's the way they presented them to us, and that's what we have to do.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Best of luck.
All right, thanks.
There was Brian Shaw pregame with Carlo Jimenez. Clippers at home taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Front end of a back-to-back tomorrow night. They'll be in Portland taking on the Blazers. We are just about 43 minutes away from tip-off, and coming up next, we're going back in time in Clippers Rewind right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Welcome back. I'm Adam Osland. Still to come, we'll get to your player to watch, and Justin Russo will be here. But first, we're going back in time in Clippers Rewind, back 21 years here to January 6th of 2004. In theaters at the time, you had the third Lord of the Rings movie, The Return of the King, that was cleaning up at the box office. On the radio everywhere, and I mean everywhere, was Outkast's song Hey Ya, which is good. Was it played out a little bit? At the left below, I've gotten a few more songs in rotation on the radio, maybe. But there was a hit on the court, too. Literally, the Clippers and then New Jersey Nets were playing, and things got heated.
Nets are up big as they try to remain focused before what could be extended garbage time in the fourth quarter if the score keeps up. Maggette is fouled, pushes down Martin, and Martin takes a swing. A fight breaks out between Martin and Maggette.
We might lose a couple of players. No time for that in a game like this. Sometimes just the reaction, the way things go, it's human nature.
Martin was trying to tie up Maggette. Maggette pushed, and then Martin came right back at him. And Martin's taking a walk.
No, I'm not sure there was a push there, but obviously after that, everything escalated.
And then it was taken to the next level.
You hate to see that. A good hard foul and good play by Kenyon Martin. He gets knocked down and, again, takes exception to what he felt what Maggette did.
Iron Eagle on the call there earlier. Yeah, it was fisticuffs between Kenyon Martin and Corey Maggette. I may be biased, but it seemed to me that obviously Kenyon Martin was in the wrong and really overreacted as Maggette was trying to get him off him with that intentional foul, but who wanted to mess with Corey Maggette? He had those 24-inch Hulk Hogan-like biceps. Of course, now you see him as an analyst with the Clippers, a broadcaster there after he dominated the Big Three a few years ago as well. That was back in 2004. Clippers taking on the New Jersey Nets. Tonight, they're taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off is just about 38 minutes away. Up next, your player to watch, and then Justin Russo will be here. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers and Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off just about 35 minutes away. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your Los Angeles Clippers. Still to come, we got Justin Russo on, but first...
This is LA Clippers basketball.
Watching this guy play right now is really something.
Players to watch.
Watching Terrence Mann, who's back in tonight after the DNP last game. It looks like, to me, there might be a competition for minutes between him and Kevin Porter Jr. because KPJ now gets the DNP tonight. This is all coming after Coach Lou said, for his reasoning with Mann not playing last game, he wanted to see something. Just seems like there's a minutes crunch, that they're going with a 10-man rotation, and with Kawhi back, somebody has to be out. So a big opportunity for Terrence Mann, who has played just 38 minutes since he returned from that broken left middle finger. Had 12 points his first game back against Atlanta, just 3 against Minnesota, 3 his last game against Denver, and played limited minutes in those 2 games. I think tonight might see some extended run from T-Man. This is a big opportunity for him. Obviously started the season as a starter for this Clippers team, and then was starting to turn things around after a slow start, but I mentioned that broken left middle finger. That derailed what was him starting to get back to shooting like he used to. And now I want to see tonight if he can still be decisive out there, knock down a couple of three-pointers. He is, let's see, he's 5 for his last 10 from the outside. Shooting 50% his last 3 games out there. Let's see what Terrence Mann has in store against the Brooklyn Nets tonight. And a competition. That's what I'm calling it right now between him and Kevin Porter Jr. Tip-off is just about 34 minutes away. Coming up next, your injury report, and then Justin Russo will be here. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Osland, and this is Clippers Countdown. Tip-off just about 31 minutes away. Coming up, we got Justin Russo in our Media Roundtable segment. But first, let's get to your injury report, brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code KLAC to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. For the Brooklyn Nets, they're without D'Angelo Russell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Cameron Johnson, Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas. It's a long CBS list when it comes to their injury report, unfortunately. Some of it is just rest for guys who played last night up in Portland that have been dealing with some nagging injuries out there. Nick Claxton, though, is a questionable game time decision with a hamstring injury. He's a solid big man in this league. Clippers, well, the news is Terrence Mann is back in the rotation. Kevin Porter Jr. is a DNP CD. And oh, by the way, Kawhi Leonard has an increase in minutes tonight. So we'll see if he goes from 20 to 25 or from 20 to 30 minutes. Who knows? Your guess is good as mine. Clippers take on the Brooklyn Nets. Tip off 30 minutes away. Up next, our Media Roundtable segment with Justin Russo right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Where Brooklyn at? They're at Intuit Dome, taking on your Los Angeles Clippers. Tip-off just 27 minutes away. Coming up, we'll get to an NBA out-of-town scoreboard, but join the show now from Intuit Dome. That would be Justin Russo, as I like to call him. At Fly By Night is where you find him, KNITE on X. Justin, thanks for doing this here on the pregame show. How are you?
No problem, man. How you been?
Doing okay, hanging in there like most right now. It's good to have you on. So I asked the question before the break there in the injury report. We don't know the exact number of minutes Kawhi will be playing tonight. Do you anticipate what, from 20 to 25 with the minutes increase? What could it be?
I would assume probably around 24 to 25, maybe an uptick to 26. But if they are truly treating this like preseason, you figure you give a guy a full half worth of minutes, and then probably, that's all you need to see out of him in that fourth game.
What did you make of the schedule change earlier today? I know a lot of Clipper Nation a little bit perturbed by them getting another back-to-back in. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there was some discrepancy. Tomer Azarli and I were talking about it. Joey Lynn was in there. Law Murray, the NU. Is it 17 back-to-backs now, or is it 18 back-to-backs for the Clippers?
It's 17. So what they ended up doing is the Clippers came into the year with 16. They've already played 7. They had 9 remaining. Now it's 10.
Okay.
So they ended up just adding one more. They tweaked it around a little bit, but they only gained, or I shouldn't even say gain, because you don't want to ever gain a back-to-back, but they ended up getting another back-to-back that they had to play.
Gotcha. Thanks for the clarification there. Obviously, it looks like we heard from assistant coach Brian Shaw earlier. Kawhi's not going to be playing any back-to-backs. I don't think he's playing any back-to-backs the rest of his career. But what have you seen so far in his 3 games? Encouraging signs from Kawhi as he progresses here. What have you watched?
So I think the third game, Monday's game, was probably the best I've seen him move. And the movement actually came, at least for me from watching from where I sit, was about midway through the first quarter, or at least midway through his stint in the first quarter, because I believe he played, I want to say the first 7.5 or so minutes of the first quarter. He started to move a little bit better. He hit a couple mid-range pull-ups. The one off the right elbow was the first time I've seen him since he's come back that I actually was like, oh, this is actually Kawhi Leonard. What was a little bit startling to me, and so far has been startling to me through 3 games, is how little you notice him when they're on the floor, or when he's on the floor and they're on offense. He's not being, Ty's talked about not force feeding him and not trying to do too much, but it's very strange to kind of see him kind of have like a role player vibe offensively, which is it's very weird to have to like go through that mentally. So, but we did see this before out of him when he came off the bench, when he came back in 2022 for those 2 games. He kind of did similar, where he didn't try to do too much. He just kind of let the game come to him for a lot of it. So you're just seeing more of that. But I did feel that he was moving better in game 3 compared to his return against Atlanta.
Do you think this is all by design with him right now, or he's just trying to blend in and not disrupt the flow of what they've had going on, as they just had another game where their big 3 with Big Zoo, with James Harden and Norman Powell, all those guys with 20-plus points? Is this Kawhi making that concerted effort to just slowly kind of ramp up here?
Yeah, I think from his perspective, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. What's working right now for the Clippers is those 3 guys are getting what they need to get and carrying the load offensively. Obviously, the Clippers are not a great offensive team right now. They've struggled offensively for much of the year. But at the same time, Kawhi doesn't want to step on anyone's toes and doesn't want to hurt what they're able to do offensively. So he's trying to fit in, and he's trying not to do too much.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. Is Norman Powell, is he going to get a legitimate shot of being an all-star this season because of all the injuries going on? Could he be an all-star replacement? Because to me, the numbers are there. What is he, top 15 right now when it comes to scoring-wise, points per game? And then you add in the level of efficiency he's bringing out there each and every night. To me, Norman Powell has got to be in the discussion for making the all-star team.
I think he should be in the discussion. I know he wants to make the all-star team. It's going to come down, I think, to a coach's decision, whether or not, he does, and the coach and the coaching staff for the Western Conference will, in all likelihood, unless something goes dramatically wrong for them, will be Mark Daigneault and the Oklahoma City Thunder staff. So, they've seen Norman Powell up close 3 times already this year. It's going to be interesting because there are a lot of deserving candidates. I think the Clippers have 2, if not 3 people that do deserve to be in the All-Star game, but that's also very tough when you're talking about a league where each conference only gets 12 people into the All-Star game. Of course, people are going to be left out in the cold when it comes to that. So I think one Clipper has to make it. I think it's going to ultimately come down between James and Norm. I think Norm should probably get the nod just because of the scoring output that he's had and how efficient he's been. He's been one of the most efficient, high usage players in the NBA. And I think that should weigh a lot when people discuss who makes the All-Star team.
Yeah, game over name and popularity contest. It is the 2025 All-Star game. Shouldn't be about prior years. Should be about what you're doing this season, I believe. So an interesting wrinkle coming into this one. We saw Terrence Mann get the DNP last game against Miami. Tonight it's Kevin Porter Jr. My read on this is Coach Lou's going with a 10-man rotation. There's a minutes crunch somewhere with Kawhi back, and there may be a competition going on between KPJ and Terrence Mann. What say you here, Justin?
I think they're just trying to figure out what combinations work. I mean, it's not just Kawhi that's been thrown back in. Terrence has been thrown back in too. And when both of them were out, there was everyone's role was streamlined. And so they're trying to reintegrate two players. Obviously, Kawhi is a very high minutes guy. I believe, 33, 34 minutes a game you can pencil him in at, maybe 31 if they want to, watch it a little bit. But, those are 31 extra minutes that are not going to someone else or, a contingent of players that are not getting those minutes. And then, Terrence plays 18 to 20, 21, 22. Those are more minutes that get soaked up. So there's going to have to be cuts here and there in terms of guys and roles and minutes here and there. But, I look at it as, okay, we saw what it looked like without Terrence. Now let's see what it looks like without Kevin and kind of, giving guys more leeway to be themselves without having to look over their shoulders of, all right, if I don't play well right now, someone's going to come in and take my spot, even in this game that we're playing. So, this is good. It allows guys to also stay fresh. Like, they're going to play 6 games. Starting tonight, they play 6 games in 9 days. They're going to have to find innovative ways to make sure that guys don't get burned out. Nico, this is sad to say, and it sounds mean, but Nico's on the older side. They're going to have to probably watch his minutes a little bit during the 6 and 9. Obviously, Kawhi's not going to be playing in the back-to-backs. He's not playing tomorrow night in Portland. James is going to have to be managed. Norman's going to have to be managed. Zoo is a big one that's going to have to be managed through this because of how vital and important he is to their team. So my read on this is mostly this is just a way to get guys comfortable in different roles, to give guys more minutes and not have to look over the shoulders, but also to keep guys fresh during this really daunting stretch that they're about to start this evening.
So while coming off the bench tonight, as we heard, it'd be a rotation between Chris Dunn and DJ when it comes to who starts based upon the matchup. Chris Dunn coming off the bench, and he was taking a lot of incoming from people looking at him and the field goal percentage last game, 1 of 10, 0 of 6 from the outside from 3. He has been struggling from distance. My point was he had 8 assists and 2 turnovers, and he's one of those rare guys that can impact the game in so many different ways that shooting is almost a bonus for him some of the time. What have you noticed out of Chris Dunn recently, and is he still a positive for this Clippers team overall in your mind?
I think he can be a positive. Obviously, not making shots when you're open is a tough thing because teams are not respecting him offensively, at least as far as shooting is concerned from beyond the arc. So that is a deal. That is a pretty big deal for them. It's also why Derek's going to get the nod. But, Derek hasn't shot well from 3 over the last couple months either. He and Chris are going through simultaneous cold streaks. It's been pretty drastic to watch, and it has impacted them offensively at times. There was a stat from Synergy going around on Twitter today where the Clippers see opposing centers closer to the rim than any other team in the NBA, which means, there's a rim protector at the rim more often against the Clippers than any other team, which makes it harder to score around the rim. So part of this is in fact due to Ivica Zubac is on the floor basically all the time, but also they're just not making enough shots and getting them from guys like Chris Dunn and Derek Jones. So, that does impact it. But with Chris Dunn, I do think there are overall positives. In a weird way, a positive is he hasn't stopped shooting. I know people might think of that as crazy, but one of the worst things to do is when you're on a cold streak and actually stop taking the good shots that are afforded to you. Chris hasn't stopped shooting. Yes, he's getting frustrated with his misses and things like that, but he's still shooting. That's a good sign. It means that he understands why, what he needs to do when he is out there and he is left open. You can't stop shooting.
Smart analysis from Justin Russo at FlyByNight. KNITE is where you find him on X. Subscribe to his Substack. Justin, as always, appreciate you coming on the pregame show, my friend.
No problem, man. Good to see you.
While we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Coming up next, we'll get to an NBA out-of-town scoreboard. It's the Clippers hosting the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off just about 17 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland, and this is Clippers Countdown on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off 15 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. You're back in on the official pregame show of your Los Angeles Clippers. It is Clippers Countdown. Still to come, back to Carlo Jimenez, plus your keys to victory. But first, let's get to your drive around the league, brought to you by Toyota's electrified lineup, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, all electrics, and even fuel cell electric vehicles. So you can choose exactly the type you need for your lifestyle. We make it easy. Boston Celtics struggling a little bit, and they would fall tonight in Toronto, 110-97. RJ Barrett with 22, 10, and 8 assists in the victory. Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, with 18 and 8 in defeat. 76ers dropped to 15-24 on the season. They would lose in OT to the Knicks, 125-119. Jalen Brunson with 38 in the win. Tyrese Maxey with 33, 6 and 6 in the loss. In a game that just went final in Chicago, Hawks 110, Bulls 94. Couple games at the half in Utah. It's the Jazz up 62-55 on top of the Charlotte Hornets. And in the second quarter in Minnesota, the Golden State Warriors, who are looking for a victory, they are up 34-18 with 11 minutes left in the second quarter on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Late in the fourth quarter, final one for you in San Antonio. Memphis 125, Spurs 111. Grizzlies are about to improve to 26-15 on the season, thanks to 21 and 11 assists from Ja Morant. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Tip off just about 13 minutes away. And up next, back to your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers and Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off just 11 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we got your keys to victory. But first, let's get back over to Intuit Dome with your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Hey, Carlo, I got a question for you. Who's playing tonight for the Brooklyn Nets in this game?
Who?
Yeah, who's right? Snoop Dogg. Who?
No, they got some people.
Is Nick Claxton playing?
Nick Claxton is playing.
Okay.
So Nick's Claxton is playing. Tyrese Martin. A lot of these names we got to see at Front Wave. Fun fact, and they have still made their way with the Brooklyn Nets. Keon Johnson, former Clipper draftee, getting a little play today. Summer League MVP Jalen Wilson. Probably should have been Jordan Miller. So maybe if we see Jordan later, might have a little vendetta today. A little vendetta. And another former San Diego Clipper, Adam, Tosan Iwoma, is playing. He was down there in San Diego. One of 3 San Diego Clippers to get 2-way contracts with big teams. Shout out Paul Hewitt. Turn it into the farm down there in San Diego. That's a place to be.
All right, back to your Los Angeles Clippers. And one of the storylines coming into this one is, of course, KPJ getting the DNP CD tonight. It was Terrence Mann on Monday night. And I've kind of framed this as there's a minutes crunch, and there might be a competition between these two going on right now, and that's what Coach Lou is looking at. What do you think about that, I guess, hypothesis, Carlo?
Adam, you're never wrong. So
well, I like hearing that.
I mean, absolutely, you're correct. No, I 100% agree with you.
Why is Big Bro looking at me with an eyebrow raised?
What do you mean? No, Adam, he's looking at you with a smile and a nod. I think. No.
Never wrong.
You gotta come on the YouTube, guys. You gotta come on the YouTube. Never lost. I'll be Michael Jordan today.
All right, LeVar. What about that competition?
This is going to be interesting for the Clippers, Adam, because you have rehearsals right now, essentially, right? I mean, everyone's auditioning for what their role is going to be. We praise the Clippers so much for having well-defined roles among their starting group. I don't think that's really been the case with the second unit. It feels like it could be anyone's night with that group. They're not really sure who's the main ball handler. They're not really sure who's going to initiate the offense. It's a lot of watching KPJ shoot long twos some of the time. So for this Clipper team, now you've moved Terrence Mann into the game plan. Kevin Porter Jr., as Ty Lue said pregame, is not playing today. How does that look? Ty just wants 48 minutes of what this rotation would be like with this group. It's not the 10-game sample size that we're used to with T. Lue. It's a little bit of a shorter leash for these guys. But, Adam, I think what's going to be really interesting is it's going to elevate the play in the game no matter what. Because now, instead of guys just going out and then playing another game, they're playing for playing time every single time they step on the floor. That internal competition, we talked about this with B. Shaw, it makes teams better. You need some of that in a healthy, competitive environment, and the Clippers have that right now because they have that log jam at the guard spot. A lot of guys who do pretty much the same thing. It's just who's going to do it the best. And I think also part of this, Adam, is who's going to fit in with the other guys the best. It might not be this guy puts up the best numbers, but everyone else plays really well when he's in the game. That is what the coaching staff is going to be looking at.
Yeah, definitely about fit and some iron sharpening iron, never a bad thing. That competition usually has the cream rising to the top. Somebody who looked pretty sharp last game in the mid-range was Kawhi Leonard. We talked about it before the game started against Miami. He said, the one thing we want to see from him is knock down a mid-range shot. Well, he knocked down a couple of them. It looked like vintage Kawhi. He just looked to be a little bit more comfortable out there, and now his minutes get increased tonight, Carlo. I'm excited to see what the Claw has in store for us.
More Kawhi, the better, Adam. I want those minute restriction to be 48. I want to see him play the whole game, and let's see what that looks
You're
like.
wilding now.
And we'll go back from there.
Nick Cannon's calling. You're wilding out.
I think they had a show here, actually. They did. For me, though, Kawhi Leonard getting more minutes. I'd love to see him play some late third quarter minutes, maybe in a close game. Obviously, with the hardest part about this schedule with these 3 straight back-to-backs, and what Brian Shaw brought up, is you're not going to see Leonard. Right, so they had a day off in between. Maybe you see Kawhi in both those games, but the coaching staff and the medical staff coming together and deciding that Kawhi Leonard isn't going to play back-to-backs. I think the right decision, no doubt. They need him come April and May into hopefully June for this Clipper team. The question with Kawhi Leonard is, can he be a physical player on the offensive end. I don't think that's what we've seen at him. We've seen him shoot the mid-range. We've seen him knock down a three. We haven't seen him run through someone. We haven't seen him take contact. We haven't really seen him been aggressive downhill. I'd love to see him initiate some contact on the offensive end. I think once we start seeing that, and it's something Ty Lue said in his pregame press conference, that Kawhi is much more physical in practice. Now can he translate that physicality into live action? That's when I think we'll know he is truly comfortable, because as you know, Kawhi Leonard is a physical player. He likes to body bang when he gets inside the paint. It's going to be interesting to see when he feels comfortable to do that here with the Clippers.
Yeah, less finesse, more force with Kawhi. So you heard it from Carlo Jimenez. He's having a dunk tonight, his first dunk of the season. I think Carlo just called that. You know,
Guarantee.
I called something a little bit earlier, my player to watch, and I hope this doesn't conflict with anything Big Brother Jake Warner said earlier, but I got Terrence Mann as my player to watch tonight. Who do you have, Carlo?
Don't worry, Adam. Big Bro says no.
Wow.
He's not that silly to pick Terrence Mann. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm excited to see Derrick Jones Jr. He's getting the nod at that starting spot. Obviously, he's talked about post-game. He's not worried about starting. He just wants to win, which I believe, but also believe that he would want to start if he was given the option of either starting or not starting. Like every NBA player would rather start than not start for the most part. So hopefully Derrick can prove in one way or another that he should be starting, or that he feels more comfortable maybe coming off the bench. I would just like to see him play a solid game today. But I think it's Big Bro's turn. Big Bro, player to watch?
Ivica Zubac.
Did he say Terrence Mann? Did he try to steal my pick? What did he just say? I couldn't hear. I'm all the way in Burbank. I couldn't tell what he said.
I'm on the air. I'm controlling the mics here, brother.
Not here.
Big Zoo. I heard Big Zoo. Wait,
All right.
Does Daniel have one?
I feel like Big Zoo isn't even a guy we can call. But Daniel, who do you got tonight? Your player to watch?
Chris Dunn.
Ooh, Chris Dunn coming off the bench now.
Picking my anti-hero. All right.
A little competition there.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to be a good one tonight. Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Competition between broadcasters, competition on the court. Tip-off is just about 5 minutes away. Wild and out of pocket, Carlo Jimenez is on the call. I'm Adam Osland, and we got your keys to victory next right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers and Brooklyn Nets from Intuit Dome tip-off just moments away. Quickly, let's get to your keys to victory. Nets are on the second night of a back-to-back. They won almost by 20 last night up in Portland, where the Clippers will be tomorrow taking on the Blazers. They could have some tired legs out there, but a lot of guys are resting in this one. That can be problematic. You got guys trying to show off for their head coach that they deserve more minutes out there, and some unknowns when it comes to Clippers and how they scheme for some of these players that haven't played a lot so far this season. Basically, the Clippers have to start fast. You got to hit first against this struggling Brooklyn Nets team and also take care of the basketball. Just 12 turnovers, a dozen turnovers for the Clippers last time out against the Miami Heat. That's something we haven't seen enough of so far this season. All right, here we go. It's Carlo Jimenez on the call. Clippers and Nets from Intuit Dome. Tip-off is coming up next right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.